Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk about Legacy, and specifically Jeskai Stoneblade, which is sort of a blast from the past, but has really started to pick up steam and become more and more popular over the course of the last few weeks. We're going to talk about the card choices, how the deck sort of plays, and why you should play this deck. Let's check it out. So this is Jeskai Stoneblade. So it is essentially, and I'm going to say this right up front, it is essentially a Jeskai control deck with using Stoneforge Mystic, searching out Batterskull or Cauldron Complete to actually kill your opponent, which is extremely powerful and forces your opponent to keep in removal for Stoneforge Mystic so he can't cheat in Batterskull or Cauldron Complete, which lets us take over the game with our control elements, and is a super fast threat that we can actually protect with the rest of our deck. The lands are pretty straightforward. We're writing a lot of basics for the option of being able to play Blood Moon in the sideboard. And a lot of this deck falls under normal blue-white or Jeskai control, which really we're splashing red for sideboard cards. So let me divide up this deck into sort of the different sections of it. So these are the different sections of this blue-white or Jeskai Stoneblade deck. The first section has to do with card advantage and card cycling. Brainstorm and Ponder are both really obvious choices. For those that haven't played Legacy before, Brainstorm is really powerful alongside fetch lands because you can Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards that you don't want from your hand back on top of your deck, and then either use Stoneforge Mystic or one of the fetch lands to just shuffle your library back, which Brainstorm then becomes essentially just draw 3, which is excellent. Ponder is obviously good, being able to shuffle away the top 3 cards of your deck if they're bad, or order them in the correct order if they are good. And then a new addition to these white, slower decks that I think is excellent and I think a lot of people are sleeping on is Staff of the Storyteller. Staff of the Storyteller is a 2-mana artifact that when it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Whenever you create 1 or more creature tokens, put a story counter on Staff of the Storyteller. So it's going to enter with 1 story counter because it creates a 1/1 with flying. And then you can pay 1 mana to remove a story counter from it, and you draw a card. This is a recurring card draw for this deck. It is beautiful. So 1, it's 2 mana, pay an extra 1 later on, you draw a card. But if you already have a Staff of the Storyteller out and you're controlling your opponent, creating a Shark token with Shark Typhoon is drawing a card. Eternalizing the Timeless Dragon is drawing a card. Of course, you have to pay 1 more mana and tap Staff of the Storyteller, but the Germ token from the 2 living weapons is drawing a card. The Wandering Emperor token is drawing a card. It is so good and ends up making you draw so many extra cards. That is kind of the primary card advantage engine in these white slower decks now, and I think the card that is pushing this Jeskai Stoneblade deck back to the forefront. And then, of course, Shark Typhoon. I think Shark Typhoon is a slept-on card in Legacy as well. It is a staple in Modern and Pioneer. Being able to just discard to cycle through your deck to either have a chump blocker or also be a threat in the late game or trigger Staff of the Storyteller is just really, really solid. And then if you get in the deep late game and then just cast a Shark Typhoon, you can just take over the game super quickly. The second section I have here are the threats section, the true threats. We have Stoneforge Mystic, a 2-mana card that we can search out an equipment card and put into our hand, and we can pay 2 mana and tap it to put that equipment card on the battlefield. We are searching out Batterskull and Cauldron Complete. Batterskull is for aggro deterrence, and Cauldron Complete is for that real aggression because it's a 5/5 with haste. Both of these create a germ token. Again, both of them trigger Staff of the Storyteller. One thing about Stoneforge Mystic, for people that haven't played Stoneforge decks before, is when you play it, you put it into your hand, and then because it's a tap ability, you have to wait a turn before you can cheat that other thing onto the battlefield. But you can cheat it onto the battlefield at instant speed, which is really, really disgusting. Again, Batterskull creates a 4/4 Vigilance and Lifelink with it attached to a germ token. And then Cauldron Complete creates a germ token with +5/+5, first strike, trample, indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that card. One thing about that last section that I actually found out recently playing Modern is it is a triggered ability, so if the damage that is dealt to the creature kills it, the creature does not get exiled because the trigger will enter the stack, and then the creature is no longer on the battlefield because it's already in the graveyard because the damage killed it. It does not get exiled. That it only matters if the damage that is dealt to it doesn't kill it, and then it'll exile it. And then we're playing a Timeless Dragon. Timeless Dragon, I think, is a little undervalued. It allows us to hit our land drops. We can just cast it and have it be a 5/5, or we can have it hit our land drops and then eternalize, and most of the time trigger Staff of the Storyteller. It's just a really good one-of addition. Allows us to play 1 less land and also be a threat and also let us draw more cards later on. I really like Timeless Dragon. Teferi Time Raveler is obviously just insane, making your opponent play at sorcery speed. and allows us to return things like Stoneforge Mystic to our hand or Staff of the Storyteller to our hand and being able to replay it. Wandering Emperor is another card that allows us to play at instant speed, exiling things at flash, creating 2/2s to trigger Staff of the Storyteller. This is really a like Stoneforge Mystic Staff of the Storyteller deck. We're really trying to abuse those cards. Force of Will is needed so you don't just get killed by these combo decks. And then one of Cute of Spell Pierce. That could very easily be a third Time Raveler or a second Wandering Emperor. I like the one of Spell Pierce, just have a little bit more counter magic to defeat our enemies. And then we have our removal section. Prismatic Ending is something that I think a lot of people are sleeping on in Legacy still. It is just a unconditional removal, especially in a 3+ color deck. And really, even though this deck is only 3 colors, it still removes most things. In fact, pretty much everything that you're worried about in Legacy. Swords of Plowshares is just the best removal spell in the format. And Supreme Verdict being able to wipe the board and reset in our blue-white control deck. And really, our Jeskai control deck is super, super solid. As far as our sideboard goes, rest in peace, obviously, for graveyard shenanigans. Humility is really good for these, like, decks that have creatures they are comboing with, things like Reanimator. I actually like it against 8-cast. I think it's pretty good against Painter, Sneak and Show, things like that. Being able to cast that, and then you're just, like, chill. Like, you'll take over the game, play an equipment, you know, and just kind of hang out. Hydroblast for these card decks with like red spells we're worried about. Force of Negation for combo decks that we're really worried about, making sure that we are able to counter combo pieces. Surgical Extraction for, again, these combo decks or these graveyard decks. Power Blast for blue cards we're worried about, especially Force of Will decks. Blood Moon is really good, again, against these decks that are being really aggressive with their mana bases, which there's a lot of them in Legacy now. And then Meltdown for these artifact decks like 8-cast and Painter. So there is Jeskai Stoneblade in Legacy. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deck techs like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social media. Links are above me and in the description, especially on Twitch, where I stream pretty much every day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.